Hey, Rajee here. Now, I gotta share this story with you. In 2004, I went for a job. I went to a company for a job. Of course, they required that you fill out an application, and you also had to take a test and pass the test in order to be able to work at this establishment. So I went down there, I filled out the application, I made sure and put, when it came to the male female part, I put transgender, male to female. I took the test, I passed the test, I did a preliminary interview, and at that time I was told, oh, we'll give you a call sometime next week to come in for orientation. Okay, great. So 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, no call. Talking to a friend, and I'm telling her, girl, I went down there, I passed the test, the preliminary interview seemed fine, but these folks haven't called me. She's like, girl, you need to go back down there and get in their face and ask them what's the issue, what is the problem. So I got myself all professionally dressed up and I went back down to personnel. And when I walked in, it was so funny. You could see like the woman in the front, like stunned, like she couldn't believe I actually came back down. And I said to her, I said, listen, I was here a few weeks ago. I filled out an application. I took the exam and I passed. And I was told that I would be called the next week to come in for orientation. And no one has called me yet. So she pauses and she's like, okay, hold on. Have a seat. I'll be right back. So about 20 minutes later, she's like, someone's going to meet with you for an official interview. Okay, fine. The guy comes out. I go, he introduces himself. I get up, I go into his office, and the first thing he says to me when I sit down is, damn, are those tits of yours real? Now, I really need a job at this point, and instead of like getting offended and kind of giving him a piece of my mind, what I really wanted to do, I just kind of politely laughed it off, and I was like, well, of course they're real. So, anyway, he's like, well, I heard you girls give really good blowjobs. As a matter of fact, I heard you girls give great blowjobs. And I was like, uh, well, yes, though, we're kind of known for that. Again, mind you, I need a job really bad at this point, and I'm like, okay, I got to get through this interview. So he asked me a few questions, and you know, about my resume, and so then he goes back to this whole sexual thing with me, and he's kind of going on and on, saying different things, and in the middle of it, I said, well, like, you haven't told me, am I hired or not hired? I said, listen, I'm transgender. I hope that's not a problem. No, 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 that's not a problem. We are an equal opportunity employer. So he says, yes, you are hired, and you report on Monday for training. Yay! Oh my God. So anyway, Monday comes. I'm all excited, dressed up real pretty. I show up for training, and the first day goes pretty well. I mean, you know, things were pretty smooth. I was kind of catching on to things. Now, mind you, this particular job that I was hired for was a 6-week training course, okay? And of course, there along the way, there were tests that you had to take and pass in order to complete and fully be hired. But during the 6 weeks, it was a paid training. So that day, I actually, during lunch, I went into the lunchroom, and of course, like when I walked in, that silence, the crickets are going, and it's like everyone was engaged, and when I walked in, then everyone stopped, and it was like, okay, that's all right. I'm still going on my merry way, trying to be polite and friendly to everyone. So before the class resumed, we got an hour for lunch. I said, oh God, I got to go to the bathroom. So I went to the ladies' room and I, did what I needed to do. Pee pee, by the way. And I freshened up a little, my makeup and all, and I went back to class. Okay, fine. First day, relatively smooth, besides the stairs and that sort of thing. But overall, it was fine. So, day number 2, I'm sitting in class, all pretty with my professional attire on. Don't worry, I was professional. And the teacher walks in and he says, Rajee, can you come outside for a minute? So I get up and I walk outside, and he was really cool. Really, really cool. He says to me, listen, the head personnel wants to meet with you. And I just wanted to warn you, it doesn't look good. He's like, I told them you're very natural with the way you carry yourself and all of that. But anyway, I just wanted to give you a heads up. So I was like, okay, so he takes me to personnel. I sit down with the head honcho of the company, personnel division. And the first thing the guy says to me is, I don't know if this is going to work out. Because on your computer application, you put Miss. On your written application, you have transgender. And on your ID, it says male. Well, hello. In 2004, it wasn't that easy to get your gender marker changed. And I told him, I explained that. And I said, on the computer application, I certainly wasn't going to put Mr. because look at me. And I said, but I'm being forthright, and you can see that because I wrote transgender, male to female, woman. And so then he gets quiet, and he's like, well, I don't know if you have a political agenda by coming to our company. We don't want any of it. And I said to him, political agenda? I said, sir, all I want to do is come to work, earn a living, so I can keep a roof over my head and feed myself. I want to make a living. He's like, well, I don't know what bathroom you're going to use. And I said, okay, because, you're going to be offensive to the women here if you use the ladies' room. And he says, we already had a complaint about that. Yesterday you used the ladies' room. And he says, and of course, you can't use the men's room because, your safety is at risk. Okay. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, what, do you want me to pee in the bushes outside? And in the meantime, I can give a blowjob to the guy that I interviewed with in recruitment. God. Anyway, he says, okay, well, there's a bathroom that's unisex here in our division. You can use that. And now, mind you, that was all good and fine when I was in training. But when I actually got officially hired, because I did pass the class with flying colors, darling, I was hired for the 12 to 8 shift. So this division, the personnel division, closed at 4. And so that means for 4 hours from 4 to 8, I had no bathroom to use. And not only that, when I did use the bathroom from 12 to 4, the bathroom was located way across the other side of the building. This is like probably bigger than a football field. And I had to actually walk all the way over and then on top of it be docked by my supervisor because she was saying, you're taking too long when you take your bathroom breaks. Well, I wouldn't take long if I didn't have to walk over a football field distance. Hello? But anyway, Now, mind you, all my other coworkers, they could basically get up from their desks and walk just a few feet across the hall to the ladies' room or men's room. So now I'm still keeping my cool. I'm trying to be really pleasant and really show that I can do this job to the fullest and just be 100%, you know. But I'm going to tell you, when you're going, it's hard enough. It's hard enough for the average individual to go to work every day and, you know, do a decent job. That's just, you know, a challenge, getting up every day and going to work and doing your thing. It's, oh my God, so much harder when you have about 80% of your fellow employees against you. Okay? And then maybe 10% they were straddling the fence. And then I did fortunately have that 10% that that happened to be in my corner. So that was kind of like my saving grace. Honey, all I can say is if I had a recorder going during those meetings, I would have had a nice lawsuit because it was blatant discrimination. And I forgot the best comment yet. Before I left, the personnel director, before I left the office, he says to me, "Oh, by the way, I know you know other transgender people. Do not refer them to this company because we don't even know if you're going to work out. This is an experiment." Oh my gosh. Thank you for the wonderful welcome. Oh my goodness. Now I'm super excited for working for your company. Oh, all right. Well, I'll tell you, I proved them all wrong. I stood my ground, and it was hard as hell, let me tell you. It was no joke. There were days I was sitting in that parking lot with my stomach in knots, just terrified to go into work because the climate was the atmosphere was so thick. It just, I just felt like I was, everywhere I turned, I was like surrounded by enemies. And I stood my ground though. I made it 6 years there. 6 full years there. Until, of course, I moved on to bigger and better things. Thank God. But yeah, 6 years. So during that time, I mean, I excelled. Despite all of the issues I had, I moved up the ranks a bit and I did really well. I got letters of commendation from customers. And so I think I definitely knocked down some doors. You know, I by standing my ground and showing people that, yes, you might have this stereotype about someone like me, but I'm going to show you differently. I'm going to show you different. I'm going to make an example and show you that I can come to work, show up, and give it 100%. And that's what I did. So about the blowjob thing, I don't know. Let me see here. This might be a little too big. Too big. But yeah, no, I gave no blowjobs at the job, just for the record, okay? I did hook up with a couple co-workers though on the DL. But yeah, no blowjobs at the job. It's strictly professional. I had to share this story with you. The things that we trans girls go through, I tell you. Thank God it is getting better.